I'm Jonas Barrel. This will be my pitch for the Unit 12 project. I'm pitching my Year of the Monkey pitch. So the text. The text seems to me to be an exploration of the character's thoughts based on their situation, that being a wedding. As I know from some of her other plays, such as When I Fall, If I Fall, Claire Dowie often likes to have a character being reminiscent and uses their internal dialogues to narrate the play. And we see the theme of identity appear in most of our works, most commonly discussing gender, whereas with this play it's more of an exploration of their personality as a whole, and it's more self-indulging based off of their situation. The internal aspect of the piece allows the audience to bond with the character in a way that develops empathy for their situation, which I think could be used to our advantage to keep techniques such as suspension of disbelief, which will just make the piece more engaging as a whole. As the text is a monologue, it allows us to move bits around, which is going to be very beneficial in terms of the production we'll be putting on, as it needs to fit with the rest of the plays. This spawned my idea of having the monologue cut into intersections of the play, which will allow us to focus on specific moments. So one problem I had when I was reading it is it felt very much they'd discuss an idea or a thought, whether it be like comparing funerals to weddings, and then straight away it would move on, but having it cut between the play will let us focus in and zone in on them things. Research. It's key that as a company we share our research to develop the piece as much as possible. At the start of each session, it will be paramount that everyone comes ready to discuss something. As we did with the last performance of Pericles, I think it would be a good idea to surround ourselves with research by physically placing aspects of it on the wall. For example, surrounding ourselves with things like drag events, churches, etc. Practical research will also be massively beneficial to the company, as we're actually able to access the worlds that Claire Dowie talks about. For example, myself and a few other people in the company have been to the Nightingale Club and also the Village of Birmingham. These are all big gay clubs in the Midlands where Claire Dowie's from, so it's very strong that these would have probably been influences in her works. In terms of research for Year of the Monkey in specific, it's important that a lot of the work goes into the character development of the piece, as it is mainly internal and observations. This will also come from taking time to look into the initial script, looking at action and unity in the script in order to take a deeper look at the character's motivations. In terms of sources, the themes and issues that Dowie discusses throughout most of her pieces are very socially relevant at the moment. So there are a wide variety of access points to the world that are available. For example, podcast, books, online interviews, and the news is all relevant. So creative solutions. As the piece contrasts an internal monologue with a large setting, that being a wedding at a church, one problem I'd face would be drawing the circles of tension to the lead while also keeping a realistic setting. And my way of overcoming this would be the use of the gauze. So this is a gauze up here, and having that placed 3/4 of the way forward of the stage, it would block off most of the stage where the wedding would be set, and completely isolate the character at the front of the stage, allowing for a much wider circle of attention, and thus a more intimate performance. And then when we wanted to draw attention to the set as a whole, to build atmosphere or whatever, we could light the gauze and allow the rest of the scene to be seen, as you can see in this photograph here. So simply you take off this lighting, and it will just be this part of the stage that can be seen, and then you light it, and everything behind it can be seen. Another problem we would have faced would be creating the set for the wedding, but one aspect that would be helpful is the fact that we'll be performing in the Gordon Valiant studio. As you can kind of see here, you have 2 balconies each side, which will allow us to hang things, as well as the rigging above. So I would aim to be performing it end-on, facing this way, which you'll see in the set design later on. Another problem that we face would be the age of the actor, because the text portrays a mother. However, our company consists of actors up to age 19. So I thought about this, and it's actually quite possible for us to edit the script to be a sister instead of the mother, and that doesn't actually affect the flow of the piece in the way I want to do it, because I want to cut it up into different sections and kind of edit out all the smaller bits, and the thought process that actually matters doesn't really depend on that character. So the rehearsal process. As the performance dates were not confirmed, or I didn't know, I based this all around the 10th and 11th of June being the performance dates. So I wanted it all to be cut into sections so that we could ensure that we had everything completed in good time. So it goes as follows. The script working, so just reading through it, unit in, beating it, understanding it, would take 2 weeks. You can see the dates there. Casting and character development, you've got 1 week, so that's like workshops, do your characters and stuff and really getting into the role. Action in the script, rereading through it and understanding everything in 2 weeks. Then you've got a month for devising, a month for the rehearsal period, then you've got your collapse week and your shows. So I plan to have a production meeting at the start of every week on Tuesday mornings. This will be split into 2 sections. Section 1, in which everyone will be together discussing any ideas or concepts that need to be worked on in the following week. Section 2, in which groups will be made, where we'll allocate certain jobs and tasks that need to be organised for the week or for the show in general. Each rehearsal will have an allocated leader who will ensure that the company stays on task and everything that's been discussed for the week is completed. So for practical skills, obviously I'll be acting in the production, but there are also other multiple roles that I've got to take on for the show, such as costume design, set designer, directing, writing, stage management, light design, as we are in a college. Taking on these tasks though as a collective company of actors will allow us to be as creative as possible. So we don't have to work to anyone else's boundaries and we don't have to worry about them understanding our concept. So we can make any decisions we want early on and kind of fit it to our idea and our vision, which that gives us that freedom. So evaluation, it's of paramount importance that we evaluate every step of the way for Unit 12. This will be done through the use of 3 different methods. So the first one, rehearsal logs. After every session, there should be a written document recalling the day and evaluating what progress has been made. Not only will this ensure that actors can comprehend what's happened, but it will also be a good reference point for later rehearsals and final evaluations when it comes to the show. The second one will be a recorded group discussion. This will take place at the end of the week. The company will discuss things that have happened during the week in terms of creativity, devising and rehearsing, things that might have been left out of the production meetings as well. Also, just to make sure that everything that was set in the production meetings at the start of the week has been met, and if not, why not? And the third one will be rotational interviews. So I thought it would be a good idea that at the end of each day, one person from the company is interviewed by the whole class about the sessions that have just taken place. This will allow everyone to kind of get a different perspective of the rehearsal room rather than their own, and also just to ensure that everyone's on the same page, so that we're all together in it. And so the final performance. With the performance as a whole, I aim to show the disconnection that people seem to hold between their inner personality and the environment they are in. This will honour the explorations of one's identity that Claire Dowie goes into in most of her plays. Having the stage in a way that allows us to add and remove depth with the gauze will allow us to focus on that isolation of the character and change the atmosphere, which will consistently vary the audience's sense of empathy. The text will be slightly edited to fit the characteristics of the actor, changing the mum to the sister. However, I do intend to move parts of the text around, so in terms of making sense, it's not a worry, as it will be more of an exploration of the piece as opposed to a performance of it. I would intend to cast Orla Dempsey-Clark in the role, as I find her ability to show a character's spontaneous thought process comes off as genuine. And I've seen her do this in multiple shows and I've acted alongside her. So yeah, like I said, I'd like to split the piece into different sections of the rest of the show, and that will complement the spontaneous nature of these thoughts. As you can see here, this is the set for The Woman in Black, performed at the Fortune Theatre in London, and this is the sort of aim I'd want to go for. You have that front section of the stage, and then when this is lit, you've got so much more depth. And yeah, that was my pitch for Year of the Monkey by Claire Dowie.